Why dismissive avoidants lose interest in sex and how they approach it. Sex is often painted as the ultimate expression of intimacy, but for someone with a dismissive avoidant attachment style, it's far more complicated than just desire or physical attraction. Let's start with the first truth that many people overlook. Dismissive avoidants crave closeness, just like anyone else, but they fear what that closeness demands of them emotionally. In the early stages of a relationship, sex can feel exciting, even liberating, because it's tied to novelty and a sense of control. But as the relationship deepens, that same intimacy can trigger something entirely different: fear of engulfment. This is the silent shift that leads many avoidants to lose interest in sex, not because they don't care about their partner, but because sex begins to feel like a demand for emotional availability they don't yet know how to give. Think about the initial honeymoon phase. At the start, dismissive avoidants may engage passionately and even seem sexually confident. The reason? Early sex is often tied to seduction, to the thrill of pursuit without strings attached. In these moments, they can enjoy physical intimacy without feeling vulnerable because there's still distance. But once the emotional stakes rise, once the partner expects not just pleasure but connection, sex stops being a safe playground and starts feeling like an invasion of their emotional boundaries. That shift is often invisible to the partner, who wonders, what changed? Why did we go from passionate to cold? But for the avoidant, this is about survival. Pulling away sexually is a way to create space and maintain independence when closeness starts feeling threatening. Another key reason dismissive avoidants lose interest in sex is tied to their deep discomfort with emotional exposure. For most people, great sex requires letting go, allowing yourself to be fully present, seen, and vulnerable. But for someone who fears dependency or being controlled, that surrender can feel terrifying. Instead of being a moment of connection, sex starts to feel like a test they might fail or an obligation they didn't sign up for. They might not articulate this fear, but their body language tells the story. Sudden lack of enthusiasm, avoidance of intimacy after arguments, or even rejecting advances with excuses about being tired or stressed. These excuses aren't always lies. They're protective shields, guarding them from a closeness they're not sure how to navigate. The way dismissive avoidants approach sex also differs from what most partners expect. For many avoidants, sex isn't necessarily about emotional union. It's about maintaining control, relieving stress, or validating themselves. This doesn't mean they don't care about their partner's pleasure, but the act of sex is often compartmentalized, separated from emotional bonding. In fact, some avoidants may have no problem with casual sex but struggle with physical intimacy once emotional investment is involved. Why? Because casual sex allows them to stay safe. There's no risk of being engulfed by someone's love or expectations. But when they truly care about someone, the stakes get higher. Emotional closeness feels like a trap, and sex becomes another doorway through which they might lose themselves. Now, it's important to note that dismissive avoidants are not cold robots. Many do want to connect, but their childhood experiences may have taught them that intimacy equals danger, obligation, or pain. If they grew up in an environment where expressing needs was met with rejection or ridicule, they learned to shut down those needs. So even as adults, when sex requires emotional reciprocity, they instinctively pull back. They may not even fully understand why they're avoiding touch or why their desire fades, but the subconscious script is running. Protect yourself. Don't get trapped. Stay in control. This internal struggle is often misread by partners as lack of love, when in reality, it's a battle between longing for connection and fearing its consequences. Let's explore what happens inside a dismissive avoidance mind when a partner initiates sex during emotional closeness. Instead of feeling desired, they might feel pressured. Instead of seeing it as love, they might experience it as a test. Do I want this? What if this becomes an expectation I can't keep up with? What if they need me more than I can give? These questions don't always form consciously, but they create tension. And where there's tension, desire diminishes. Sex becomes less about mutual enjoyment and more about maintaining boundaries, even if that means saying no more often than yes. So how do dismissive avoidants express desire when they do engage? Often, their approach to sex is more physical than emotional. They may be more comfortable with the mechanics than with eye-gazing, cuddling, or slow, intimate moments that require emotional presence. Some partners misinterpret this as being selfish in bed, but for the avoidant, it's actually a coping strategy, enjoying the act without triggering vulnerability. This preference for surface-level intimacy isn't because they don't care about the partner, but because going deeper feels risky. To them, detachment equals safety. What's fascinating is that avoidants may even use sex as a way to create temporary closeness, but once the act is over, they quickly retreat. The partner might want to snuggle or talk, but the avoidant instinctively shifts back into independence mode, sometimes even physically moving away. This withdrawal can be heartbreaking for their partner, who interprets it as rejection, when in reality it's the avoidant's way of rebalancing their sense of self after feeling too exposed. Now let's address another overlooked aspect: past wounds. For many dismissive avoidants, unresolved trauma plays a silent role in their sexual patterns. If they experience shaming around affection or sexuality in childhood, they may associate intimacy with discomfort or fear. These associations stay buried, but show up in adulthood when sex starts to feel too close or too emotionally demanding. Over time, if these patterns go unchecked, they can lead to cycles of desire and withdrawal, where sex is initially fulfilling, but later becomes a source of tension and conflict. For a partner trying to understand this dynamic, patience is key, but so is self-respect. You can't force a dismissive avoidant to want intimacy the way you do, and pushing too hard often backfires, making them retreat further. The real path to change involves creating emotional safety, not by chasing them, but by showing that closeness doesn't have to equal loss of freedom. This balance allows the avoidant to slowly reconnect with their own desire without feeling trapped. So what does healing look like? When a dismissive avoidant begins to trust that intimacy won't suffocate them, their sexual interest often returns, not as an obligation, but as a genuine expression of love and connection. This doesn't happen overnight, but with self-awareness, therapy, and a patient partner, avoidants can relearn how to merge physical and emotional closeness in a way that feels safe. In the end, dismissive avoidants don't lose interest in sex because they're incapable of love or attraction. They lose interest because sex, for them, isn't just about bodies, it's about walls. Every intimate moment threatens to dismantle the protective structure they've built over a lifetime. And until they feel safe enough to let those walls down, desire will always be entangled with fear. But when they do feel safe, when they trust that intimacy won't erase them, their passion can be as deep and fulfilling as anyone else's.